offers invaluable support, whether it's for a few hours a week or all day, every day. But according to a survey of people with a learning disability, 2/3 have seen their social care slashed during the pandemic. And right now, they and their families...
That's because the government don't give a fucking flying rat's ass about you.
The impact of the cuts has been devastating.
They'll send money to another country, no problem at all.
Who are both autistic, lockdown's been particularly
And it fucking look after your own first.
Before COVID, most weekdays, Philip and Christopher would go to day centres, and on weekends they'd regularly go for respite care, giving their mum a much-needed break. But when lockdown started, the support stopped.
By Christopher's behaviour, it's not done his mental well-being very good, even though he can't communicate.
Fuck me, it's done no fucker's mental well-being this lockdown, has it? Mashing all his fucking heads.
It's not a healthy lifestyle.
And
in fact, he'll be fucking even better, he will.
You must be feeling
if you fucking
pressure these past months.
You know, God help his soul. If you know your disability mentally, you're not going to truly understand what's happening.
Disability charity MenCap has found nearly 70% of families said the social care support they normally receive fell during lockdown at a time when they actually needed more, with 67% saying the person's needs had increased. It fell to family to plug that gap. Nearly 80% of family carers have had to take on more unpaid care, and over half said they'd struggled to cope.
In many cases, the person with a learning disability is more socially isolated, has lost their independence, is losing some of their life skills. Families are really worried that they'll see further cuts in the future, and that they may be told, well, you coped during coronavirus, during lockdown, so maybe you don't need the level of support that you had before.
Another great method, eh? Another great outcome of the fucking coronavirus. Oh, you coped during lockdown and that was an absolute disaster. You don't need our money now, you don't need funding.
It will be so difficult. I can imagine that a lot of parents would need to then think about residential care.
For now, Karen says all she can do...
Okay, now is that the plan? Residential care.
5 News.
Well, we know what's been happening to the old folk. What are they thinking of doing then? Bumping off every fucker who's got mental disabilities? Burden on society. Residential care, there's the worry. Get your family in residential care. They'll fucking bump them off.
The process was rigged. He says he will crack down using full force against opposition supporters. Authorities in Hong Kong have arrested a high-profile media tycoon as part of a controversial new security law there. Jimmy Lai was taken away as the offices of his news organisation were raided. He's been a strong supporter of the pro-democracy movement and encouraged protests against the government.
What's wrong with that? He's right.
An oil spill is threatening to cause an environmental disaster. An estimated 1 ton of oil.
Environmental disaster. Look at the fucking. Look at this is what we're doing to planet, folks.
Activists have been working around the clock.
Fucking the world up big time. Oil spill. How many animals are going to die through that?
It is the stuff of dreams. Marius Stepien was scouring a field on the Scottish borders when he came across a fascinating-looking bronze object 1/2 metre underground. This, he thought, might be something spectacular, and he wasn't wrong. What he'd found was a hoard of artefacts from the Bronze Age, which experts say is of national significance. Tom Barton has the story.
Well, he'll be probably wedged up now then.
It's a hobby where the dream is rarely fulfilled.
Whoever's field it's on, they'll get half and he'll get half.
True. In a field in the Scottish borders, he unearthed a 3,000-year-old hoard, including a sword in its sheath and a complete horse's harness.
I am over the moon. It's never happened before. It's like this.
Fair play to the guy.
I was waiting for this moment. It's over 8 years.
When he found this first object, he was like shouting and screaming because he knew straight away it's something.
He'll be quids in.
Wow.
Museum will buy that off him.
For weeks after he made the discovery, these fields were a hive of activity. But Marius didn't go home and leave the archaeologists to it. Instead, he camped right here to protect the find and to help them with their work.
Protect his fucking cash, huh?
They were helping
You
us,
fucking would, wouldn't you?
with the excavation. They were helping us with their metal detectors.
While he fucks off home, they'll dig up the fucking rest and say, no, there's only this much. You know it'd happen.
So this is quite an unusual case for us.
Half of his find would be fucking gone missing. That's obvious, isn't it?
Experts say the find is nationally important.
Fuck me, I'd have been a tent set up right on top of it.
It's incredibly significant. The opportunity to study these objects fresh out of the ground, but also still buried in the ground, is an opportunity that we never get as archaeologists. We have the chance to understand how and why these objects were deposited.
To be honest with you, I'd rather understand what's going on at the moment, not what's fucking underground.
Marius is still going.
You can't change history, you can change the future.
It's unlikely he'll find anything.
Can't change yesterday, you can change tomorrow.
But that's not going to stop him trying. Tom Barton, 5 News on the Scottish borders.
Finally, 2 whales that had been kept in captivity in China are getting their first taste of the sea.
Something nice here, folks, rather than fucking doom and gloom and the fucking COVID bullshit.
But then a British charity stepped
How nice is this? This is what I like.
Has been anything but straightforward, but the outcome, say conservationists, is more than worth it. Helen Keenan reports.
Meet Little White and Little Grey. 12-year-old beluga whales who are finally free.
They're adjusting really well, so you can see over my shoulder here, our team is working with them. They're eating, they're kind of exploring the space. What you can't really see unless you're here is that there are underwater gates under these concrete pontoons, so the belugas can go back and forth between a couple of habitats here.
After being rescued from performing tricks in captivity in China, they've travelled 6
performing tricks. It's fucking China what's fucking everything up, innit? Most evilness with animals is China. What don't they fucking eat? I think China should start fucking eating each other. Leave fucking animals alone.
To the sanctuary to really pave the way for
probably find a fucking delicacy in some fucking else's bollocks.
8 more belugas here, and there are more than 300 belugas in captivity around the world.
Today the team began the difficult process of moving them, weighing up to 1,200 kilograms each. They're loaded onto a stretcher, then onto a tugboat to the bay.
They won't have felt direct sunlight like that since they were very young animals when they were first taken from the wild. All the sunlight they've felt has been through windows in indoor pools. So to see that was just absolutely amazing.
Conservationists, though, remain concerned about others still in captivity. What does the future look like for other mammals in captivity?
We want governments to implement legislation, banning captivity, banning captures, and then we can...
Oh, you've got an hard fight for... They're not really asked about animals, love.
Whales and dolphins around the world.
They're only interested in wars and corruption. They're not that asked in animals.
And for the whales, who always look like...
That's last the bottom of the agenda, that is.
Helen Keenan, 5 News.
They want to find money for that? Fucking hell, I don't know.
Coming up later on 5 News.
Find money for a fucking war.
He who believes she was racially profiled after being pulled over by police in East London yesterday. Dawn Butler is now calling for the stop and search system to be changed. And I'll be
racially profiled.
In urgent need of a super
how far would that go if she was white woman?
Stem cells for him.
Oh, you can only fucking bang on about racism if you've a skin of colour.
Next, and I'll be back in an hour. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Trouble with these folk, innit? If you've skin of colour, you can push racism. You never hear of a white person fucking moaning about racism, do you?